And it's starting to queue up. Hey, Sharenika.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, girl. It's so good to see you again. We see each other like every day, but on Wednesdays.
Right.
So first of all, I want to thank everybody for joining me. Hey, my name is Camille Essick, and I'm the host of the Speaker Podcast. Tonight, I have a special guest. She's my sister and friend from the Mark Coley Business Academy, 6 a.m., y'all. 6 a.m.
Baby,
accountability call. And that's how we met. So first of all, I want to say, Sharenika, thank you so much for taking the time and for joining me.
you're welcome.
So for those that are not familiar with you, just let everyone know like who you are and where you're from and what you do.
So, my name is Sharenika Lashay. I am from a small town called Thompson, Georgia, and I do a lot. I just produced a book called Hustle Through the Pain. It's basically telling my life journey, and I also produced a prayer journal to help people that are struggling in their faith. And that's the main thing that I'm pushing. Is the other stuff I do as well with my business that I own, which is called All in One Creations, where I do different design and creative director and etc.
Awesome, awesome. And before we get started, I got to shout out my sorority sisters. Today is our Founders Day. Shout out to the ladies of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, and particularly my undergrad chapter, Lambda Chi of Middle Tennessee State University. And then when I was stationed in the Navy, I was taken under the Delta Beta Sigma chapter there at Old Dominion University, Norfolk State. So shout out to everybody in the DMV and happy Founders Day, ladies. Thank you so much. And also early shout out to the men of Omega Psi Phi. Their Founders Day is tomorrow. So that being said, Sharenika, first of all, those that have not read your book, Hustle Through the Pain, it is an amazing journey. But before we jump into that, you were working at Tyler Perry Studios for a few years. So tell us how you got hooked up and got on with the Tyler Perry Studios. What was that experience like? I know that was amazing working with Mr. Perry and just being in that atmosphere of Black excellence. So just how did you get into Tyler Perry Studios and what was that journey like?
So I remember when I left my the job I had before then. I working at a call center in Augusta, Georgia, and so I got too comfortable where I was at. And so I was praying to God, and I was like, something, I just felt empty. And I was just working there for a check. I had just had a newborn baby. So I was praying. I was like, God, I want to get back closer to you. I feel spiritually dead. So I was asking God for advice, and literally I felt the Spirit of the Lord come upon me, tell me to quit my job at the call center in Augusta. So I'm like, hold on, you want me to quit my job? That don't make sense. I just had a little bit of baby now. But I was obedient, and I had left. And so when I was out of work for like 3 months, and those 3 months I kind of was getting discouraged, and I started applying for things that I really don't want to do. And so I started like doing soul searching or whatever, and God kept telling me, no, go after what you want to do, go forth in what you want to do, and I'm gonna back you up. And so I remember a long time ago, I went on Tyler Perry Studio property, and me and two other friends, we had prayed on the property. And I always said that I'm going to work at Tyler Perry Studios. I had it written down that I said, every job that I said I would have, I got the job. Like that I spoke every job, and God told me to come up higher in my mindset, because even as small when I was young, and I thought Pizza Hut made a lot of money working at Pizza Hut as a server, because I see them putting out a lot of money. But I was young, but it's just the mindset I have. Everything that I said, like I said, I want to work at the airport. I got a job at the airport. I said I said I wanted to work at a call center. Like I didn't know why I wanted to work at the call center. So every job that I had, I was getting those jobs when I put my mind to it. So I was like, what do you really want to do? And so I wrote down, I was like, I'm going to work at Tyler Perry Studios. I don't know when, but I said I'm going to work there. And so I had so I ended up applying. I submitted a resume, and I kept calling to get on their nerves, but I wasn't getting no response back from them. And so I got discouraged and started applying for other jobs down there in Atlanta. And so literally God was blocking those jobs, because when I was calling them, they wasn't getting my phone call. When they was calling me, I wasn't getting their phone calls, and they wasn't getting my phone calls. So, but God was blocking those calls because I ended up getting a call back from Tyler Perry Studios to come in for an interview, and I had got the job on the spot. But Favor just literally was going forth ever since the day I had started there, and they fell in love with my spirit. I got promoted there within 3 months of working there, and so it was that was the best. I thought the airport was the best job I had, but Tyler Perry Studio was the best job. That's why I was so sad to leave. I was crying, but I
Why did
left on
you
good
leave?
terms. Huh?
Why did you leave?
Because God was dealing with me and he said I was 6 months behind. And so I was like 6 months behind. And so I was asking God, like, because I felt like a heavy, like a burden. And God been dealing with me about leaving doing full-time entrepreneurship, but I was scared. And so I tried to hold on to the job. But I always told God, I don't want to put nothing before you. I don't want to put no man before you, no job before you. I don't care what it is. I would not. I told God I won't put nothing before him. So when God told me to leave, yeah, it hurt, but I know I will eventually let it go. So I left on good terms. So they still left the door open. They did a big old party for me, going away party. And they also told me if I ever need to come back, even if it's part-time, they always willing to, the doors are always open. And then they supported my business as well and sowed the seed in my business. And they had told me anything I need, no matter if it's like grant writing or finances, whatever it is, that they got my back. So just having that support system and everybody was like on board and okay, and they would just wish me well. That mean a lot to me. So, but I didn't want to leave. I did not want to leave.
I
But
bet you hit on some things. First of all, you touched on faith. Just having the faith to believe God, to go from working at Pizza Hut to a call center to working at Tyler Perry Studios. That takes faith and just trusting God to know what he heard, what you heard, and to know his voice and know that was him. Because even myself, there have been times that we hear God and then we go, well, was that me or was that him? And I think that ties into spending time with him on a regular basis, so your ear is trained, so when he does speak, you know immediately that is God. And then also, you also touched on another point I thought it was amazing about making God a priority, because sometimes we want a job or we want the status or relationship so bad, we don't pray to God or talk to God until something hits the fan. And then it's
right.
like, oh God, please send up a prayer, but it's like, no, you have to put him first all the time, above everything.
That's so true.
Yeah. So I think those are some really good points that you brought out. So going from Tyler Perry Studios and then trusting God to leave Tyler Perry Studios, can you kind of touch a little more on that experience as far as when you knew, like, okay, I know this is God, I have to go. It's time for me to go.
So it started to become okay. So when God told me to leave, it would have been easier if like all hell broke loose. Like if I was having an issue, because it's easier and it would have been more comfortable because everything would have been right and I wouldn't have had no excuse. And so everything was going well. Other than we was like working a lot or whatever. And I put my kids first before anything.
Right.
And so it was just like I didn't have no issues or no animosity with anyone that I felt like I'm like, why I leave? Like, can I just talk to my supervisor and they cut my hours back? Like, can we just negotiate something? The guy was like, no, you 6 months behind because you holding on this job because you feel like you think I'm going to do something because I know what God done promised me. I know I'm gonna be one of the main actors there. And so I felt like God was gonna do it through my job title by working there. God was like, no, I'm doing it another way. See, you think I'm gonna do it this way, but I'm doing a whole nother way, but you 6 months behind because you think I'm gonna do it this way. So I'm like, okay, now I'm trying to figure out how the world you're gonna do it. But after I transitioned and I told my supervisor about it or whatever, so literally that I was scared. I'm like, God, now you got me. I don't bought a house. I don't did this. I don't bought a second car. I'm like, I got a lot going on with bills. I'm like,
Yeah, you kicked out some money.
right. And then, but not only that, I like it was a promotion on the table. Like that, I was finna get promoted to supervisor. Like,
Oh, wait a minute. So you left when you knew you were about to get promoted too?
knew I'm about to get promoted to 6 figures.
Wow, 6 figures.
6 figures.
You walked away from that,
6
trusting
figures.
the Lord.
I was just like, oh my goodness.
Girl, I
So
don't know. Your faith is strong because I was like, God, now look now, wait a minute. Wow. Wow.
I was just like, oh my God. I cried. I was like, all of us cried. I was like, no, we love your personality. We love your goofiness, because like a lot of people, like they'll come in there sad, and I don't encounter several people that didn't even believe in God. But just my love walk, and I didn't treat them no different, and I just showed love. It made them start like, what, like try to get to know the God I serve,
Being
just
the
from me
light,
just
yeah.
being. So
Mm.
I cried. All of us, we like cried together. They had did like a little potluck the last day I was there. They had came with cards and this and that and third. But the
Was
first
Mr.
day,
Perry there?
you said what?
Was Mr. Perry there?
Yes, he had gave me encouraging words. He basically was saying that like that is his dream, and that he encouraged all of us to pursue our own dream, and that I have served him long enough, and then now it's time for me to do what I got to do. And they all of them had basically said whatever I need, one phone call away, and they got my support. So, well, I got their support, but it is, I cried.
I bet that is so amazing. I think it says a lot when you can leave a space. I always say in life, your relationships, how you interact with people, it's like currency, and you cannot travel in this life on burnt bridges because you never know if you have to go back. You never know.
Right.
Life can be full circle, and that one person you mistreated some time ago may be the gatekeeper that you need to walk to this next door in the future. So I'm always big on, my mother used to tell me, leave right, because you never know if you have to go back.
So true.
It's so
That
true.
is
So with all that being said, tell us about this amazing book, Hustle Through the Pain. Or maybe before we do that, I want to shout out some people that have tuned in. We've got some comments in here. Thank you to Dejana Springfield for tuning in. Unifying Platform, Quintessa Lee, Valerie Brown.
so we international right now. Unified, she's based out of London, United Kingdom. She's in
Okay,
London.
I'm international. What's up across the pond? Hey guys. Antoinette Johnson, Makisha Gordon, Adventures Tamika O'Brien, Marcoli, what's up? Shout out to Mark, Kiana Mullen. So yeah, we've got some heavy hitters on tonight. So I'm glad I'm international. We're international. What's up? That is so amazing. So tell us about this amazing book that you've written, Hustle Through the Pain. A story like none like I've never heard before. I definitely want you to kind of touch on that. Give us some background on why you wrote the book and your journey to getting to this point where you are right now as far as healing and helping other women. Because I know part of your story, but I want you to share with the listeners your journey to where you were then and to where you are right now.
Right. So my purpose behind the book, I just remember every time I used to like go through something, I write it down, and I felt better after I wrote it down. And so it just, God kept dealing with me. You need to tell your story. You need to tell your story. And so I wrote the story first, like nobody was watching. And for the longest, my past used to hunt me. And so that helped my healing process by writing it down, and kept exposing myself over and over. Because the more I exposed myself, the more I got free from my past. Because my past, I wasn't gonna say nothing, because I was so ashamed of all the stuff I had did, because people looked at me nasty, they called me crazy, called me all kind of names. And so my past held me, like had me at a stagnant for a long time, because I didn't want people to know what I did. So when I confronted that and kept on saying it over and over and writing it and over everything I went through, it helped with my healing process quicker. And so I just started, and I was like, I want to be able to reach some people that, okay, for example, when I first started to transition over and try to live my life for God, it was hard. Like, I got rejected from the church. People judged me. And so I tried to look like what I thought church people looked like, because I wasn't accepted how I was. And so I wanted to basically reach out to those people that probably wouldn't go to the church, and reach out to those people that feel like they're not worthy enough, because like one point in time,
none of us are worthy. And I don't think any of us have the right to judge anybody. And like I
right,
said before, I'm a PK. I grew up in church, and some people want to, turn their nose up at people. And it's like the only difference is God exposed you and not this other person. And maybe God didn't expose you because you couldn't handle, the repercussions of the exposure, and to, even though for you to tell your story, and it's probably some other people in church sitting there with their mouth twisted and have gone through the same thing. But the thing is, they can't handle the exposure. But yet God has equipped you with the strength to tell your story, to bless those people still in bondage, and to free the people that want out. So thank you for doing that.
you're welcome.
So even in that, you were saying you felt judged by people in the church, and then go from there.
Okay, so basically, like, people, they'll call my parents on like this 3-way call, 4-way call, like, did you see her daughter? She had on this. She was in this video. She was doing this. She was twerking. Like, I now I look back, I was like, oh my God, I done did so much stuff. But around that time, I just wanted to be loved. I wanted to feel love, but it was just the rejection. I was acting out of rejection. So my rebellious spirit came from being rejected. And so that's when I started running to the streets, because I thought that I thought the streets were showing me love. So that's what I started fighting and doing this, dancing, doing any and everything that I could do. And
And
that's
how old
when
were you when this was going on?
So I say it was like, right. Okay, so let me back up. We was like the first one there to church and the last one to leave. I got churched out when I was young, because my parents didn't play that. Like, we had to go to church. So I was like, I was so tired of the church. I was like, mm-mm. And then seeing a lot of fake people in church. So it was like, when I get old enough, because I wasn't old enough then to make my own decision. I said, when I get old enough, I ain't going back to church. I said, I'm tired of this. I don't like no fake stuff. I ain't going back to church, whatever. And so when I first went to college, I had graduated, went to college. That's when I really had stopped going to church. I didn't go for like a whole year or whatever. And I just went buck wild, just doing any and everything or whatever. And then so it was just like a lot of people that call, oh, your daughter doing this, your daughter doing that. And I look back and I'm like, oh my goodness, I straight embarrassed them. But it's a blessing, because what they put in me, what my parents put in me, yeah, I strayed away, but I came back. I came back to what was inside of me. And so, but I really was like, I felt like I was churched out, and I was like, I was tired of it, but I ended up coming back to the church, because we are the church.
No, I totally feel you on that. I grew up PK in church, 3 generations deep, and my father, he was a pastor. My mom was evangelist, and she taught Sunday school and did the choir. And it was like, you know, Sunday school, morning service, dinner at church, night service, testimony service, Bible class, Sunday school teacher meeting, Saints meeting on Friday, choir rehearsal on Saturday. So, girl, I know. I definitely know. And like you say, you get tired of some things, you see some things, and it turns you off. But the thing is, we have to learn how to extract people and then God and then the institution,
Right.
because those are 3 different things. And it's like going to the hospital and you be upset because sick people are there. Well, it's the hospital. Of course, sick people are there. And just like with church, not making excuses for behaviors, but we're there because we all need help, and we're all under construction. I do feel like we do need to tear down some of these walls as far as being religious or judgmental, and teach the young people more about relationship and life application versus just rules and legislation, because you cannot legislate righteousness. It's not based on a dress code, if you wear makeup or pants or whatever. It's about your daily walk. I heard something earlier today that said prayer as practicing experiencing God on a daily basis. And I think those are key principles that we should be teaching our young people and even ourselves, as far as studying. If you make this choice, and don't tell me, hey, don't do this. explain to me why, and then explain to
Right.
me if I do make this choice, these are some things that can happen. And I think we need to make more young people think. I think within the church, growing up in church, a lot of topics were taboo and sugarcoated. And I'm like, why is that? Because the world, quote unquote, doesn't sugarcoat anything. You can go on Instagram and it's right there in your face. And I think as far as the church arena, it's not about being raunchy, but it's a time to be raw and upcut, because the world is not pulling any punches. So now at this point, why should the church?
That's good. That was good.
But we're gonna get off, because I can talk about that all day. So we're gonna get off that topic. So as far as in your journey, you were partying and kicking it, and then sex trafficking hit your life. How did you get into sex trafficking? How did that happen? And what age did this begin for you?
I say I was around like 18, 19. It was like probably my second year in college. And so I was like this struggling college student. I was super prideful. When I say prideful, I didn't want to ask nobody for money. I didn't want to, because the first year I did that, I switched up. I asked this person, I asked that person, even though like my parents would give me money when I asked for it, or this person or whatever. But I was just tired of asking for money. And like, if I feel like you're struggling, I don't want to put my burdens on you. So I didn't want to ask nobody else for no money to pay for books or pay for this and that and third. So I was like, I'm just gonna get the money my own self. And the enemy heard that as well. And so I was just like, at first I was thinking I'm gonna get it the right way. What messed me up was around that time I was always partying. We was partying almost every single day in Statesboro. And so after one night after the club, we had went to McDonald's. At McDonald's, well, me and my homegirls, we always have fun, turn the music all the way up, hop out the car, start twerking. It don't matter where we at. We'll hop out the car, twerk anywhere. In the stop sign, we hopping out the car. So, but this particular time, we was at McDonald's and we turned the music all the way up. All of us hopped out the car and started dancing. And so all these dudes, right when they saw us dancing, they bum rushed out of McDonald's and like literally flooded us with 20s everywhere, just threw a whole bunch of 20s. And so I'm just this struggling college.
They made it rain at McDonald's?
You said at McDonald's parking lot.
They made it rain at McDonald's?
McDonald's parking lot. It probably was some dudes after the club. I'm not sure. I just know it was a group of dudes inside of McDonald's. They saw us through the window dancing outside, and so they just literally bum rushed. I just remember seeing a whole bunch of dudes bum rushing over there. Where was it? And literally like just flooded us with a whole bunch of 20s. I'm looking like, I got clothes on, and y'all don't put all these 20s. But that messed me up. That was the start of it. And so they started telling me, when I went over to their house, whatever, they started telling me about all the different stuff, how you go apply for gigs and start. That's what it introduced when I got introduced to it, really. Because I was like, okay, well, I can do this to make money, and I don't got to ask somebody for nothing or whatever. And so every week I started dancing every week, going to, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm not really doing nothing because I got my clothes on, but sometimes it ended up turning to something else, and then I'm like, I regret I did it, but then I feel like, well, I need the money, so it is what it is. And it became a habit that I was doing almost like every other day. So it got to the point that they told me, that was like, the real money in Atlanta or whatever. And so I started researching. Kid you not, I was going on Craigslist looking for a gig. It got a gig spot on Craigslist at the bottom where it say gigs at the bottom. That's what a lot of people post their stuff, but they know that I wanted to be a model and an actress or whatever. Them the main people that they go after. Okay. So when I went to
they're looking for young people that are wanting to be noticed, attention, go viral, that hunger or craving attention.
Vulnerable.
Okay.
And you can tell the vulnerability, because I was just willing. Anybody was able to sell me a dream. Like if you said you knew this celebrity, you know that celebrity, this, that, and the third, and it looked like what you say. I mean, anybody was able to sell me a dream. So I ended up losing a lot of money from being scammed so many times. So now, like when some people run stuff by me, I already know it's a scam. Like certain companies, I already know a scam. And so I lost so much money trying to chase after something. When I stopped chasing my dreams and started chasing God, my dreams started chasing me. And so it was just mind blowing how I was just so thirsty to be up here, so thirsty to try to be famous, or so thirsty to willing to do whatever it takes to get to the top. And so when I had that incident, that this person basically made it seem like, okay, I could put you on with this, that, and the third, and which he was. He is well connected in the industry, and he was acting like he was gonna be my manager, and that he was gonna give me a contract. Like, I like what you do. I like your picture, this, that, and the third, whatever.
So they're out here like thirst trapping young women and baiting them.
Right. And making it seem like they can get you a contract, but really you were just trying to get me on your escort company.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking these questions is because we have a lot of parents that are watching, young people that may be listening, people that have like young nieces and nephews, or them themselves that may be vulnerable. So we want to make sure we are educating, and I want to make sure I'm understanding too. So it's not like I'm trying to be slow, but I want to make sure that, you know, everyone's understanding what's going on out here.
Right.
So after that, you said it turned into like an escort service, or what happened?
So so with that incident, what was the turning point for me? Okay, so it was in Atlanta. They sent me the address, and I text two friends. I said, anytime I went any address, I would text my friend, I'm at such and such address, anything happened to me. This particular time, I told my friends that I was at such and such address if anything happened to me, whatever. I got there, and I'm saying it had well-known celebrities in the house. So I'm thinking, okay, this finna be my turning point. I'm finna make it, and all this, that, and third, whatever. And so literally, he got to ask me question like, "Do you do drugs?" I'm like, "No, I don't do drugs." Whatever. He was like, "Oh, what all do you do?" I'm like, oh, "Did we come for it? I didn't come here for that." I'm thinking I'm about to get like a contract, because around that time I said that I wasn't going to do that lifestyle anymore. And so it was mind blowing. And I realized that something wasn't right. So I'm sorry, my little girl done sat here and came up in here. But but I realized something wasn't right. And so I text my friends and let them know that make sure you hear from me in the morning, because something don't feel right. So I kind of like spooked them out, the best friends. I had spooked them out. And so literally I got thirsty and I asked them for something to drink. And so it had to already be in a drink, because literally I had them blanked out. And so only thing I remember falling asleep and asking for something to drink. Well, only thing I remember is asking for something to drink, and then like getting real nauseated and real sleepy. And so once I was like, I was out of it. Like I really did not
like a roofie or Mickey or whatever in the water.
Right.
Okay.
But no, it wasn't water, it was alcohol.
Okay.
Alcohol
but they
beverage.
like the drink with something, like they dosed the drink.
Right. But I don't know if they poured it, like if he just put it in a drink, or if it was already in the drink. I'm not sure, but he was so smooth with it. And so literally, only thing I remember that night is blanking out, that I blacked out that night. Only how I remember what happened the next morning, because he had it on video. And so, right. And so when I woke up the next morning, he was like, "Oh, you went in last night." And so I woke up like kind of confused. I'm like, did I get that drunk that I don't even remember what happened? So I was kind of like embarrassed and ashamed. Like, okay, I know I done got drunk several times before, but I never got drunk to the point that I didn't remember nothing that happened. So now I'm kind of like paranoid, trying to figure out what happened. And so when he was like, "Oh, you went in?" I'm like, "Nah." He was like, "Oh, you did this drug, that drug, cocaine and all this." Now I'm like, "Nah, I ain't do none of that," or whatever. He was like, "Yes, you did," or whatever. Because basically he was trying to tell me from before even that he gave me the drink. Prior to that night before, he was trying to tell me, why should I do the drugs or whatever. And I told him I don't do drugs, but he was trying to tell me that it's going to make me feel good or whatever. And so he basically was trying to prove a point to me, because when I woke up, even though I was confused, but I felt good when I woke up. And so he was like, "I tried to tell you it was going to make you feel good or whatever." And so I was like, "What you mean by that?" He was like, "You went in last night," whatever. And then I was kind of like confused. And that's when he was telling me that I was on this, on that. I told you I wasn't going to do nothing to you, wasn't going to do no harm to you. And so I literally got upset on the spot and had started crying. And when he showed me a video on what all I did or whatever, I was like, okay, I got to go. Right when I got into my
Okay,
car.
so just a recap, this guy gets you to the house. He put something in your drink.
Making it seem like he's gonna be my manager and that he had a contract.
And he put something in your drink.
Right.
And you black out.
Right.
And whatever happened, he records everything. And then you wake up and then he tells you, oh, you did this last night. And then as he pulls out the receipts, he shows you the video of what happened.
Right.
Wow.
And so that next morning, that next morning, because it's still morning time, when I told him, I was like, I gotta go, this, that, and the third. I was like paranoid because really I don't even know what happened that whole night. Only thing I just know what happened from that video or whatever. And so literally I after I cried my eyes out, I went down the street, cried my eyes out, and I screamed to the top of my lungs. I was pissed off at God, asking God why this, why that. And I told God, I was like, God, if you cover this up and you had this video, I would run after you like never before, and I would not look back. And so I was so pissed off, and I was like, okay, knowing that he's well connected in the industry, I was like, okay, let me send him an email so to let him know, like, do not put that out there. And so I sent him.
Happened, Sharenika, the celebrities were in the house?
Yeah, the celebrity. See, I don't know if they saw it or not. Only how I knew the celebrities were in the house because when I walked in the house, I'm seeing, I almost gave names. I saw certain celebrities in there. So I'm thinking this should be legit because
these people are here.
Yes. So I'm thinking he are what he say he are. But we went to his room or whatever room that was, his room or whatever room. And so the door was closed. So all of them was on the outside. Now, what else happened that night? I'm not even sure. The only thing I know what happened is what he recorded. That's only how I know what had on happened. And so I sent him this long email, basically like not a non-disclosure, but I was young and dumb. So I sent him the long email basically saying that if this video get out, I'm gonna press charges, I'm gonna do a lawsuit, do this, that, and the third, or whatever. And so he never responded back to my email or whatever. I received a private phone call. I say like an hour later when I was headed back towards Statesboro. And so I was driving on the road, still crying, and I get a phone call. He was like, okay, I received your email, like a threat or whatever. He was like, but if you look at the video, he was like, he said, you did that on your own. I didn't make you do that. He said, I didn't make you do none of that stuff. And he was like, if you go to the police, the video be all over World Star Hip Hop. Because around that time, World Star Hip Hop was very popular around that time. And so I was super scared and nervous. So I was like, bump that. I just won't say anything. I won't talk about it because I don't want my daughter, my oldest daughter, I don't want her to see that or grow up, get picked on or see that. So I was just like, bump it. I just won't say nothing. So I stayed quiet for a long time. And my past hunted me because I was like, I was so scared that people was going to find out about all the stuff I had did in the past. And so I felt like people were going to judge me. I was so ashamed because I know we come from this church background. So I didn't want to make my parents look bad. And so I was super nervous. So I stopped pursuing the modeling and acting career because I was getting different roles as the background on acting. But the crazy part about it, I know everything that you have to do to submit speaking roles and how to get speaking roles. Like I studied this stuff and educated myself, but I didn't apply myself because I was so paranoid that I would get up here and then they would start pulling these videos. But during that process, God had humbled me, and I got to the point and I told God, I said, I don't want to sleep my way to the top. I don't want to get the easy way. If I gotta do whatever I gotta do, but not illegal, but legal wise, I do whatever that I have to do, that I would not do no prostitute, no stripping, no whatever it is, no selling drugs or whatever it is that. So because I want to do it the right way. And I cried out and I told God, I was like, God, if you just cover that. But at the place I am now, even if the video was I'm so free from my past that I'd be like, oh, that was me. It was, I did it. So I'm so free from my past that I don't care. I don't care if people believe me. I don't care if people don't believe me or believe me. I'm so free from my past that I literally don't care. But and I know how to own it. But that was a turning point for me because I got to the point that it ain't about that. It ain't about being a celebrity. It ain't about being famous. I'm like, God, I just want you. I just want you to heal my heart. I want to be able to forgive them. I don't want to have no bitterness in me. And so it was like a cry out to God, and God was like, now you're ready, because now you're open to me. And so that literally was the turning point of my whole life, and my shift of my whole life started changing then. And so I started being vulnerable to God.
So in the industry, because there are people that have little girls, little boys, um, the holiday season is coming up. I've heard before that usually during events like the Super Bowl in Atlanta is one of the biggest times for traffickers. Um, so what are some of the tactics that are used to entice victims? Because it seems like it can be any town, any city, but why is it that mainly Hispanic and Black women are targeted? But what are some of the tactics used when young women, young girls are snatched up?
My opinion is trying to sell them a dream. My opinion is a lot through like social media. They do their research on your page. But the entertainment, it might be big somewhere else, but it's huge in the entertainment. Like if you seeking after doing acting, they
Or singing,
easily,
or that like actors and singers?
yes, it's like easily people try to put adult film on you. And so when I was younger, I didn't know what adult film mean. I thought it was just like adults that like acting or whatever. I was just so desperate. I was not thinking. So literally a lot of it is on like Model Mayhem website. They try to act like innocent or whatever, and they'll try to get, like, okay, for example, they'll send you emails back and forth asking who all coming with you, want to know all the information, want to know your information. And if they'll try to make it seem like, oh, this is a private session, only you can come by yourself, don't go nowhere by yourself that you don't know where you're going to. So they'll make it seem like, oh, this is something very confidential that you have to be by yourself, or are you going to have this contract. They basically try to get you by yourself.
So
So
use isolation and confidentiality as tactics as well.
right, and
Okay.
making it seem like they about to put you on, or I came across your page, I'm just basically acting like they're a company to put you on. That's what I got from mine. Other people that got kidnapped, I haven't experienced the kidnap or seen the kidnap, but I know it's out there. But also I have seen this, that they go get hotel rooms, and they'll get like about 10 hotel rooms. They have 10 hotel rooms at one hotel, and have different girls stationed at the hotel, and they'll pay the hotel owner to not say anything to cover them up.
Mm,
I have seen that as well, and I've seen that in Atlanta.
okay. I also heard one instance too. I was listening to Tony D. Riviera. She was on the Breakfast Club and she was sharing her experience in trafficking. And she was saying a lot of these companies, food delivery companies, like if you get a pizza box and if there's a business card in the box, or if they put something down in your bag when they deliver your food, there may be a card in there with a phone number. Hey, call this number, et cetera, et cetera. And just so many different tactics. And then when young girls are missing and the description is put out, what they would do is what they call garbing up the girls, meaning they would dress them in clothing from other cultures. So they may be looking for a young Black girl, but they'll put a hijab on her, or clothing from like the Muslim culture, and disguise the girl. So they may be looking for a girl in jeans and a sweatshirt, but then she may be dressed in clothing from another culture. So they're not even looking for her, and she could be right there.
Right.
Wow. So with parents not knowing, they're doing these sleepovers, slumber parties, how can you stress to parents and those watching that have young children or even teenagers, knowing the friends, knowing the parents of the kids, checking backpacks? I know growing up, our thing was our mom was like, there are no closed doors in my house. So can you kind
Right.
of get on checking cell phone and accounts? And we have a lot of secret or what they call fake Instagram accounts. Can you kind of hit on that for those that may be watching as well that have children to Sharenika?
Yeah, so I'm the same way. No doors closed. Don't leave the kids home by themselves, because you can't put nothing past anyone, and it's not even with like even like opposite sex, same sex too. It's not even, and a lot of people worried about the older people. it can be their same age too. So sometimes people look at it as in, oh, let me I don't want this age or that age around my child, this and that. No, you have to be careful even with the same ages, because not only that, like technology is raising the kids and they set sales. And so they even like a lot of this stuff like going on with the different games that they love like real hard. It have a lot of different stuff that's going on even on the games that
So
shouldn't
if
even
they're
be
playing
there.
a video game and someone is talking, that could be anybody that they're listening to on their headset while they're playing a video game, right?
Right. And so like it's a lot going on. So we have to stay checking the kids' phones, looking at the history, what they've been watching. See if your child been watching porn. Sometimes random stuff ads come up on the phone, reset the whole phone if they don't got a virus on the phone, because sometimes stuff pop up like literally check the kid's phone. Make sure adult around them at all time, because you just can't put nothing past anybody. I don't care if it's young, old, same age, you can't put nothing past anybody.
So what is shopping season? Like I've heard this term before as I was kind of researching this topic, preparing for the show. So can you kind of break down like what is shopping season and when is shopping season?
So shopping season is now. Sex trafficking is the highest, really, my opinion, during shopping season. And the funny thing about it, I saw a post. You know how the Facebook memory come up on your timeline. I had made my post like 2 days ago, last year, 2 days ago. And that's when I first said about my whole sex trafficking experience. Even though I touched bases on it in the past, and even the book I touched bases on it, but I didn't go into full detail. I just really started going to full details. But around the shopping season, a lot of women don't, by we being so excited and shopping, sometimes you're not really paying attention to your surroundings, paying attention that you're being watched, paying attention that, or some parents want to go in, and it might get worse this year because, you know, with the whole coronavirus going on, a lot of parents go inside the store and they like to leave their kids at home or leave their kids inside the car. And some people are watching you. And so parents are more vulnerable in the shopping season, because a lot of time, only thing on your mind is this sale. You're trying to get this sale, you're trying to get this, you're trying to get that, and you're not really paying attention to what's like really going on. And so I won't be surprised if we start hearing a lot about it on the news, even though it's always going on. But it's very high during shopping season.
So
Because
shopping season is pretty much when traffickers are looking for kids or young people to bring into the field, the industry. So they're
right,
looking around or shopping who to bait, who to recruit, quote unquote.
right,
And I've even heard that they'll use people or young people their age, because if someone is your age, if you're 15 and you're approached by another 15-year-old, that's less threatening than being approached by a 30-year-old man or woman.
right, right.
Wow. So, and then also there are a lot of businesses that serve as a front for the industry, like hair salons, nail shops, braid shops, and massage parlors, where trafficking goes on as well. Is that correct?
Yes, because you're being vulnerable, because you telling your business. You're telling them a lot of details, and something we have to be careful with that too, by posting everything on social media, telling like everywhere about. Now, it's a difference if you wait till after you leave and then you post something about it. But if you tell all your moves, it's easy. It's easy for somebody to find you if you telling all your moves on social media. Or if you just sitting in a shop and you telling them everything that you got going on, that you about to do this, you about to do that, you're gonna be at this place, that place. I mean, that's easy, because you just literally just told everything. And you don't know who plotting on you. And the person that plots on you, they get paid for it too, just by finding you. But also it's
Finder's
another thing.
fee? So they're getting a
It's
finder's fee pretty much.
And something else that I found out, this is not sex trafficking, this is human trafficking. It's a thing, anybody that put that they're a donor on their license, they can find that and research that it's a system that they used for all the people that are donors. So if you say you're a donor, they're gonna feel like, oh, well, they must got good organs. And so you would be an easy target for them to start doing research on.
Wow, I did not know that.
Anybody that got their a donor on their license, that that you'll be a donor when you leave here, you're an easy target.
Wow. Wow, that's heavy. That's very heavy. So when you came through that and all that, Shay, as far as how did you find the strength to survive in the midst of, you know, the enemy trying to use your past against you, feeling discouraged or humiliated or violated? Like, what did you do to pour back into yourself throughout that process and even to get where you are right now?
So really what helped me out a whole lot, my the last church that I had went to, I just driving. I was like, man, I gotta find some type of church home because I can't do this by myself. And so the last church I had went to, it helped a whole lot because I was like, I was jacked up, I was messed up, and I didn't know. And so it was like I changed my, I wouldn't say change my belief, but it was like I changed religion or whatever. And so I was like, I just want God. And so it made me start reading the Bible more because I wasn't reading then. It made me start even though I always prayed, but I didn't really, I believed in God, but I wasn't a follower of God. So I was just a believer. And
But
so
you
I mean
formed a
it was
relationship.
right. And so the more I got deeper and the more I started telling people that I trust about what I went through, and that helped a whole lot. And then I even was ashamed to even say what I went through. But what I did realize was the more I talked about it, even when I was ashamed of it, even when I felt bad that I heard people go back and say what I said, the more I talked about it, it was like a level of freedom came off of me even every single time. And so I had talked to my last first lady about it. I was like it seemed like I just couldn't get past my past. And she kept telling me that every chance you get, you need to tell your testimony. And she's like, I don't care where you at. Every chance you get, tell your testimony. And that's exactly what I did. Every chance I had, I told my testimony about how I did prostituting, I did stripping, and this and that and the third. And so that helped free me from my past quicker. And so I know it had got to a place that when somebody had made a comment, like it was like a he say she say thing, and was basically saying about all the stuff I had used to do. I knew I was free from my past when I didn't care. I was like, oh, that's funny. I did do that. Like, but the more I owned my past, the more I got free from it. And so now I just have this like spirit of I don't care. Like, and a spirit of laughter. Like when somebody try to bring my past to me, now I laugh about it because it's funny.
Yeah, I think what's so interesting, you brought up that point, um, the ability to control your own narrative. Because it's one thing, like if I share something with you and then you go tell someone else and then it comes back to me. But then if I tell it and if I hear it, I'm like, well, yeah, I know you know because I'm the one that told you. So it's not
Right.
gossip, nothing's added to it, nothing's taken away. And when you do that and you're able to reclaim your power and reclaim your story and your narrative, that says a lot and it's very liberating. So you're absolutely right by doing that.
And
That you're
that's so
very,
true. And
mhm,
the enemy can't hold nothing over your head if you expose yourself.
right.
Instead of, cause we'll feel worse if somebody else exposes us. But if I was always exposing myself to the point that it don't matter, you can expose me. Now your story is boring because I already exposed myself. And
Right.
so once I own it, now if I was in denial, people that be in denial about what they've been through, that's when it make it bigger than what it is. And everybody want to keep it going on and on, keep it going on and on. But if you just go on and own it, like it's that's boring to them. That's boring.
You're absolutely right. So for those that are not aware, you've written an amazing book called Hustle Through the Pain, which tells your amazing journey from surviving those situations to where you are right now. So for those that are not aware, Shay, where can they find your book?
So they can order a book on my website at www.sharenikalashay.com. That's SHARENIKA, Lashay, LASHAY.com. Or you can also order it on Amazon. You can type in Hustle Through the Pain on Amazon. And you can follow me on social media. It's Sharenika Lashay on social media. Instagram, Sharenika_Lashay. Twitter is Sharenika Lashay. So everything I keep at Sharenika Lashay. So
Okay, that is great. And we'll make sure that people, when they catch the rebroadcast, that information is there as well. And before we close out, do you have any words of encouragement or nuggets of wisdom or jewels, as I say, you can drop to the listeners and viewers that may be going through some tough times, they may feel discouraged, or just in a rough place in life? Like what can you give to them?
So my advice would be to keep your head up. Don't look at your finances. Don't allow anything to stop you, because a lot of times what stop us is we feel like we don't have enough money, or we're not worthy enough, or we did this, we did that. A start is better than no start. So just find some type of start and do something. Like if it's just writing it down, it don't matter what it is. Like everybody have something in us. All of us have something in us. But whatever that God have for us will be for us. So it don't matter if you don't have the finances. It don't matter you don't have the right connect. You think you don't have the right connection, but what can be holding you back is you. Your mind can be holding you back. So literally, when you just put yourself out there, everything gonna fall in place in line. So that's my advice, because that will happen for me. So.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, first of all, Shay, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. And I want to thank everybody that has tuned in tonight. My name is Camille Estick, and I'm host of the Speaker Podcast. And until next time, be blessed. You guys have a great time. The rest of this evening, be safe out there. Wash your hands, sanitize, and wear those masks. Have a good evening. Good night.